Let's loop back then to the Intermountain Digital Foundation. So that's an interesting concept to me, and I think that is forward think in terms of just thinking through the core elements that need to be in place for to support not only citizen developers but others, and keeping that core foundation sort of intact and accessible, interoperable, and all those things. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So again, internally, we're calling it the Intermountain Digital Platform. It's not a single vendor play, but the mindset kind of starts with this notion that, like every other healthcare organization, we have many source systems behind the scenes. You think of the EMRs, you think of claims processing systems, ERP, PAC systems, all these different systems that I think Gartner at one point maybe titled those systems of record, right? And those systems, by and large, were never really engineered or thought of back in the early days to be a consumer engagement kind of a system, right? And so the conundrum I think we all have is that you've got all of these systems behind the scenes that are your workhorses, that are very high transaction, internally facing systems that automate or at least help from an electronic processing perspective a lot of the workflows behind the scenes. But now, all of a sudden, we've got these consumers that are coming in that we need to have more or less directly interact with these systems that were never developed to interact that way. So the Intermountain Digital Platform is really this abstraction layer. Again, multiple technologies, much of which are cloud-based, that range from front-end user experience capabilities to business process type of a layer, to basically an API kind of gateway type layer, down to a data abstraction type layer. And so each of those layers kind of play their own component with a lot of vertical integration. So when we talk about MyHealth Plus, our digital front door tool set, we're using those top-end tools coming down through an abstraction layer so that we don't necessarily have to have that tool being wired directly to our EMR platform, to our revenue cycle platform, our bill pay pieces, et cetera. A lot of that can be abstracted so our developers can move much more agilely. We can have that elastic capability of having that, in our case, be out in Microsoft Azure cloud services. And it just gives us so much more flexibility to move forward. Now, when we do that really well, like I suggested, we've been doing with MyHealth Plus directed to consumers, well, now we've got all of these same type of capabilities. So as an example, this year we have kicked off a provider digital engagement type native mobile application concept that really is sort of a pre-onboarding of providers all the way through all the different kinds of services that need from a non-direct specific individual patient perspective. So it's sort of the everything else providers need that today we throw all different communications at them, force them to go through all different kinds of logins for re-credentialing, for CME type tracking, for getting medical staff bylaws and just everything else. Now it can just come through again, just like we're doing for the digital consumer, treating providers as we go forward like a digital consumer as well of all these internal services and capabilities. And then on that runway, we're going to take the same concept for non-provider internal caregivers and other members of our workforce as well, to try to automate, like for leaders, instead of having to log in 15 different applications on a daily basis to approve this or to approve that or to submit this or whatever, to try to basically abstract all those back-end systems for at least their most highly used transactions and capabilities and bring those into just a quick, easy mobile kind of an experience where device of their choosing, anytime, day or night, wherever they happen to be, and be able to interact with things very quickly. So that digital platform is really being focused around not only consumer needs, but provider needs, as well as our internal workforce needs, so that we can leverage a lot of those consistent services across the board. That's basically the approach, with a data aggregation layer that can bring a lot of that data up, kind of get it more normalized, et cetera.